What if Anakin killed Dooku in Attack of the Clones? In Attack of the Clones, Anakin and Obi-Wan chase Dooku as he attempts to escape Geonosis. What results is a one-sided duel where Dooku easily defeats both Jedi before fighting Master Yoda and narrowly escaping. But what if this wasn't the case? And what if, after Dooku sliced Obi-Wan to the floor, Anakin was able to tap into his rage and Chosen One powers and defeat Count Dooku? How would that change the Star Wars timeline we all know and love today? Our story begins towards the end of the duel between Anakin and Dooku on Geonosis. Obi-Wan has just been sliced down by Dooku, and it's now up to Anakin to defeat the Separatist leader before it's too late. The result of this fight would have dire consequences on the future ahead. They continue to fight back and forth, with Dooku swinging elegantly and Anakin letting his youth take over. But when Dooku began speaking to him in between strikes, Anakin's determination increased. He focused his attacks and remembered his training. He remembered his role in the Jedi. He was the Chosen One, and it was his destiny to destroy the Sith. When the two locked blades, this is where our story differs from the original. Originally, Dooku cuts off Anakin's arm and wins the fight, but now, Anakin dodges Dooku's strike and parries it straight back at the Count, removing his arm instead. He falls to the floor in pain as Anakin stands over him triumphantly. Anakin raises his saber above his head, ready to kill the Sith. Dooku can sense the turmoil in Anakin and says he doesn't have the strength to do it. At this moment, Yoda quietly appears around the corner, but before Anakin can register that the Grand Master is there, he swings his blade and he kills Count Dooku. Yoda immediately screams no in defiance. Skywalker just killed an unarmed prisoner, Yoda thought to himself. That is not the Jedi way. Back at the Jedi Temple, the Council gathered to talk about Anakin's actions. The mood in the room was serious. They all agreed that what he did wasn't the Jedi way, and even though Dooku was dangerous, killing him like that crossed a line. When the meeting ended, Obi-Wan found Anakin walking down the hallway. He called out to him and caught up. "Anakin, wait," he said. "I need to talk to you." The two of them stepped to the side, away from the other Jedi. Obi-Wan looked at him carefully. "What happened out there? Why did you do it? Why did you kill Dooku like that?" Anakin didn't answer right away. He looked down at the floor, clearly struggling with the memory. "I let my anger take over, Master," he finally said. "He got into my head. He said things about my power, about the Jedi. I couldn't stop myself." Obi-Wan took a breath. He'd seen glimpses of this anger before, but never like this. "Anakin, has something else bothered you lately?" he asked gently. There was a pause. Anakin thought about Padme for a moment, but decided not to mention her. "It's my mother," he said quietly. "Her death still haunts me. I see it when I close my eyes. I wasn't strong enough to save her." Obi-Wan's expression softened immediately. He had known about Shmi's death, but he hadn't realized how much it still affected Anakin. "I'm so sorry, Anakin," he said. "I should have been there for you more. You've been carrying this alone." Anakin didn't respond, but for the first time in a while, he felt like Obi-Wan truly understood. Obi-Wan placed a hand on his shoulder. "Listen to me. If you ever need to talk about anything at all, I'm here for you. You're not alone in this." Those words meant more to Anakin than Obi-Wan realized. At that moment, something shifted between them. The bond they already shared grew stronger. Anakin trusted Obi-Wan deeply, but this made their connection even closer, like real brothers. It was the first step towards a different future. Meanwhile, across the planet, Palpatine was furious. His plan had fallen apart. Dooku was dead and the Separatists had no leader. He needed a new apprentice, someone powerful and loyal, someone he could shape into the perfect weapon. He reached out through the Force, searching for any hint of darkness that could replace Dooku. That's when he felt it, a small familiar presence far away. At first he thought he was imagining it, but as he focused, he felt it more clearly. It was Maul. Somehow, his old apprentice was still alive. Palpatine followed the dark energy to the junkyard planet of Lotho Minor. He moved through the junk heaps until he found a tunnel leading deep underground. There in the darkness, he found Maul. His body was twisted and broken, with spider-like metal legs keeping him alive. His mind was a mess, and his eyes were full of hate and pain. Palpatine looked at him and smiled. "My apprentice, the Force has brought us together again." He took Maul to Dathomir, home of the Night Sisters. When Mother Talzin saw Maul, she immediately agreed to help. She brought Maul to a sacred cave filled with green mist and ancient magic. The Night Sisters surrounded him, chanting in their strange language. Talzin raised her hands and the green magic wrapped around Maul like a storm. His body was lifted into the air as the Night Sisters restored him, rebuilding his broken mind and giving him new, strong cybernetic legs. Slowly, Maul came back to life. He would become a Sith Lord once again. Palpatine stayed on Dathomir to retrain him. Day after day, he pushed Maul harder than ever before. He taught him new lightsaber forms, stronger Force abilities, and even how to use Force lightning. Maul grew stronger with every lesson. His speed, power, and control were terrifying. Talzin and the Night Sisters watched with pride as Maul became more dangerous than ever. In time, Palpatine gave him a new red lightsaber and Sith robes. He wasn't just Palpatine's assassin anymore. He was his second in command. He was a Sith Lord again. Palpatine made him the new leader of the Separatists, a replacement for Count Dooku. Together they looked out over the red plains of Dathomir. A new chapter of the Clone Wars was about to begin, and this time, the Jedi would face a far more dangerous enemy. The Clone Wars tore throughout the galaxy, bringing chaos to every corner. Anakin Skywalker became one of the Republic's most powerful generals, leading his troops to victory in battle after battle. His skills with the lightsaber and the Force were unmatched, and his fearless style inspired those who followed him. But even with all his talent, his emotions were still a problem. The Jedi Council didn't fully trust him after what he did to Dooku. They respected his power and his role as the Chosen One, but deep down, many of them didn't see him as a true Jedi. It always felt like they were keeping him close because of his destiny, not because they believed in him. The one exception was Obi-Wan. After their honest talk following the council meeting, things between them changed. Anakin actually opened up to his master, talking about his nightmares and the pain from his mother's death. Obi-Wan listened and gave him advice, and slowly their bond grew stronger. They became closer than ever, more like brothers than teacher and student. Obi-Wan became Anakin's anchor to the light and Jedi, more than even Padme could. Together they led countless missions together, from the deserts of Geonosis to the frozen plains of Auto Plutonia. On the other side of the conflict, Maul was now restored and stronger than ever, replacing Dooku as the Separatist leader. His brutal tactics and hatred for the Jedi made him a terrifying enemy. He and Anakin clashed many times during the war. Each time they met, Anakin grew stronger, more confident, and more in tune with the Force. Palpatine played both sides of the war. He watched Anakin's growth carefully, waiting for the right moment to strike. By the end of the war, Anakin wasn't just a warrior, he was one of the most powerful Force users in the galaxy. At the time of Revenge of the Sith, the war was reaching its breaking point. Palpatine had been kidnapped by the Separatists, and Obi-Wan and Anakin were sent to rescue him. But this time, it wasn't Count Dooku waiting for them aboard the Separatist flagship, it was Maul. Maul was dangerous, maybe even more than Dooku, and for Anakin, it felt personal. Maul killed Qui-Gon over a decade earlier, and facing him now felt like unfinished business. When the doors to the control room opened, Maul stood there with his double-bladed lightsaber ignited, the Chancellor bound behind him.
Kenobi, I have been waiting for this moment.
Give up now, Maul. You're no match for both of us. This doesn't need to get messy in front of the Chancellor, Maul. But the Sith Lord simply laughed. He was here for revenge on Kenobi for sentencing him to a decade of rotting on Lotho Minor. The battle started fast. Anakin and Obi-Wan charged together, moving as a single unit. Maul flipped over them, attacking from behind, forcing them to spin around quickly to block his strikes. His speed was incredible, and his attacks were filled with fury. The sound of clashing sabers echoed throughout the room. Anakin met Maul's strength with raw power, while Obi-Wan's technique kept Maul on edge. For a while, the fight was balanced. Maul tried to break them apart, just like he had on Naboo years earlier. He leapt onto platforms above them, using the environment to his advantage, hurling bits of wreckage with the Force and constantly taunting them.
You'll never defeat me, Kenobi. The boy is too weak.
He shouted, hoping to trigger Anakin's temper. But this time, Anakin didn't take the bait. He kept his cool, remembering everything he's learnt since Geonosis. Obi-Wan glanced at him mid-fight and warned, "Don't let him get in your head, Anakin." Anakin nodded and focused, their teamwork unbroken. They pressed Maul harder, forcing him back step by step. Maul's strikes grew wilder as his frustration grew. He spun his saber in a deadly arc, nearly hitting Obi-Wan, but Anakin stepped in and blocked in just in time, pushing Maul off balance with a powerful kick to the chest. Maul stumbled back but flipped backward to regain distance, landing near the Chancellor. He tried one last trick, flipping over their heads and aiming to separate them again, but this time Obi-Wan and Anakin moved together perfectly, like two halves of the same blade. They turned at the same time and caught him midair, their sabers locking with his. Obi-Wan struck first, slicing Maul's lightsaber in half. Anakin followed up with a quick disarming move, knocking the remaining blade from Maul's hand. Maul hit the floor hard, surrounded and beaten. He looked up at the two Jedi, his face burning with hate. For a moment, it looked like Anakin might finish him then and there, but Obi-Wan put a hand on his arm, calming his apprentice. Anakin stepped back, controlling his emotions. Together, they arrested Maul and freed the Chancellor. They brought Maul back to Coruscant and stood before the Jedi Council. The room was tense. Maul was restrained in the center of the chamber, surrounded by Jedi Masters. His eyes burned with hatred, but he stayed silent at first, studying each of them like a predator behind bars. The council began questioning him, trying to get anything useful out of him. Maul laughed darkly.
You think you've won?
He hissed.
The darkness is already here. You're just too blind to see it.
The Jedi pressed him with questions about the war, the Separatists, and his return, but Maul dodged everything with small comments and mocking smiles. The back and forth went on for a while, the Jedi trying different approaches, Maul enjoying every second of their frustration. Then the doors opened and everyone turned. Palpatine walked in with a squad of Coruscant Guard behind him. His presence immediately changed the room. Mace Windu straightened his chair and Yoda's ears tilted upwards. "Chancellor," Windu said slowly, "what are you doing here?" Palpatine gave his usual charming smile. "Maul is a dangerous criminal. He's under the jurisdiction of the Republic courts, not the Jedi. I'm here to make sure he's properly contained." His voice was calm, but his eyes were sharp. Windu leaned forward. "He's a Sith Lord, the ancient enemy of the Jedi. That puts him under our responsibility." Palpatine shook his head. "We're not living in the old Republic anymore, Master Windu. Times have changed. Maul has committed countless crimes against the Republic. He belongs in our custody." What he didn't say, of course, was that he needed to get Maul away from the Council as soon as possible. He knew too much. If the Jedi dig deep enough, they'd uncover everything. Before Palpatine could push further, Anakin spoke up. "Maybe before the guards take him, we can use our mind tricks together as a council. If we all combine our strength, we can break through together and find out what he knows." The room went silent for a moment. Palpatine's smile faltered just slightly. "That won't be necessary. The courts can handle this." Mace Windu surprised everyone by backing Anakin up. "Actually, Skywalker's right. If we work together, we should be strong enough to get into his mind. We could find answers that could end this war." Plo Koon spoke up, his voice calm. "Is this humane?" he asked. "He's our prisoner now." Windu didn't hesitate. "We're at war. We do what's necessary to protect the Republic." A few other Jedi nodded and started to rise from their seats, ready to begin. Palpatine suddenly stepped forward, blocking their path. "I can't allow this," he said sharply. "This is not the Jedi's place." His friendly mask was slipping. Yoda slowly walked forward, his eyes fixing on the Chancellor.
Nervous, you seem. Why so afraid of what we may find in Maul's mind,
Palpatine froze for just a second. It was brief, but the entire council noticed it. Windu's eyes narrowed. Anakin felt a sudden spike of fear from Palpatine through the Force, quick but undeniable. The atmosphere in the chamber shifted immediately. Something wasn't right, and everyone could feel it. Palpatine realized he was boxed in, and if they went ahead with their plan, everything he'd built could come crushing down. Therefore, Palpatine ordered the Coruscant Guard to seize Maul and escort him by force. The Jedi moved instantly, lightsabers ignited almost in unison. The Master stepped between the troopers and Maul. "The Jedi Council will proceed." Palpatine's mask finally cracked.
I won't allow it.
Yoda gave a silent nod, and the entire council reached out through the Force together, focusing their power on Maul's mind. Maul screamed and thrashed, but their combined strength was too much. In a flash, the council were all thrusted into a vision, which showed Sidious plotting in his office, clone trooper chips, Maul's training, and hidden meetings. And then they all saw it. Palpatine. He was the Sith Lord. The room fell silent for a heartbeat, the weight of the revelation settling over everyone. Mace was the first to speak. "Chancellor Palpatine, you are under arrest for treason against the Republic." Palpatine's pleasant act was gone. His eyes burned with hate. "Then it is treason." He pulled out his comlink and barked the words that changed everything. "Execute Order 66. Across the galaxy, clones turned on their Jedi generals as thousands of Jedi fell. At the temple, the Coruscant Guard who surrounded Palpatine raised their blasters and began to fire. Blaster bolts lit up the room as Yoda, Plo Koon, and Shakti leapt into action, deflecting the oncoming fire. Yoda immediately redirected a trooper's bolt back at Maul, hitting him square in the chest and killing the unarmed Dathomirian. Palpatine unleashed a storm of Force lightning and ignited his red lightsaber, launching himself into the middle of the council chamber. A huge battle erupted. Palpatine clashed with Mace, Obi-Wan, and Anakin all at once, his speed and power shocking even them. Yoda fought off troopers at the door as more poured in, alarms bearing through the temple. Below the council chambers in the Great Hall and Jedi Archives, thousands of clones poured in and began slaughtering every Jedi in sight. They had to defeat Palpatine quickly if the Order had any chance of survival. Anakin fought side by side with Obi-Wan and Mace without hesitation. Their combined strength slowly pushed Palpatine back. Yoda joined them, and together they surrounded the Sith Lord. Palpatine unleashed everything he had, lightning flooding the chamber, but the four Jedi held firm and deflected it together. Anakin moved first, breaking through his guard and slicing off Palpatine's saber arm. Mace followed with a crushing blow that knocked him to his knees. Yoda raised his hand, using the Force to slam Palpatine back, and Anakin finished it, driving his lightsaber through Palpatine's chest. The Sith Lord fell. Palpatine was dead. With Sidious dead, Order 66 began to fall apart. Some clones froze mid-battle, confused without clear commands. Others, like Rex, resisted their chips with the Jedi's help. The Council quickly shut down temple communications to stop the Order from spreading further. They were able to defend the rest of the temple against the onslaught of clones and save the Jedi Order. Across the galaxy, the Separatist leadership collapsed without Sidious pulling the strings, and the war came to an end soon after. The Republic began to rebuild without falling into a dictatorship, with Bail Organa elected as Supreme Chancellor. The Senate was shown undeniable proof of Palpatine's betrayal, and everyone came to believe it. After Order 66 ended, Anakin finally went home. Padme was waiting for him, and this was the first time she told him she was pregnant. In the original timeline, Anakin was told after he returned from the Invisible Hand, but in this story that wasn't the case, as Anakin and Obi-Wan had to return Maul to the Jedi Council chambers immediately. But now things are different. Palpatine was dead, so Anakin never had the dark visions of Padme dying. For the first time in a long while, his mind felt clear. After everything he had been through, he decided his family mattered more to him than anything else, even the Jedi. He went to the council and told them everything about Padme and their marriage. To his surprise, they didn't expel him, they let him stay. Later, Padme gave birth to healthy twins, Luke and Leia, and the Jedi welcomed them with open arms. Anakin was overjoyed. He had his family, his place in the Order, and finally, he had his peace.
Halloween's coming fast, and at Fantasy Sabers, we've put together our exclusive Halloween Saber bundle. Each bundle gives you a high quality, fully customizable saber with a belt clip, and you own Jedi or Sith robes, but only for a limited time. Order before October 10th for guaranteed Halloween delivery.
If you enjoyed today's video, you must watch What If Anakin Was Trained from Birth and What If Luke Joined Vader. Please check out Fantasy Sabers if you're looking for an affordable saber to add to your collection. We offer RGB, Xenopixel or Profi in various sizes and designs. Also check out our membership program to be able to watch our videos early. Thank you all for watching, and may the Force be with you.